Oh, hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, we're just kind of doing a print here and kind of checking out the, let's see if we can get this dragon to come into focus a little bit. I don't know, will it? Maybe, there we go. So yeah, doing a little dragon action there. Anyway, in today's video, we're going to talk about, this is a desktop review. I don't have this printer in my possession, but just going over and looking at the specs of this new HeyGears Ultracraft 3D resin printer is really, really interesting. And so we're going to take a look at that, and probably the top two printers that are in line that I would kind of group these all together with would be the Uniformation GK2 along with the HeyGears Saturn 3 Ultra. Now I have the Saturn 3 Ultra, and great machine, love it. Get some awesome prints. I mean, I end up got the little alien dude there. Got some drool on his front. With some blood and whatever. It's kind of cool. Got some great prints off it. You still need to manually level the bed and all that, but once everything's dialed in and I settled in on my resin, pretty much it's just good to go. Putting in supports is kind of interesting because you still have to do manual supports. The auto support function is little to be desired, to say. I haven't had any auto supported print actually print out successfully, so there's a lot of manual supports that you need to do. A little bit of a learning curve, but that's where the HeyGears printer comes into play, and we're going to take a look at this. Matter of fact, here we are. There is, let me see if I can get this just to keep me in frame and you can see everything. Their Ultracraft Reflex is your one-stop production platform. It offers the printer. They also have a wash and cure station, and then they also have a wash station and a cure station. So you have those three different items. This thing is pretty interesting. There's a cure station, and basically, this company started out doing dental dentistry, resin dental and orthotics and prosthetics and things like that, hearables, innovation. So they've worked on the medical side of the house in regards to resin printing, similar to what a lot of other places. Now I've got a couple of implants. I've got some. They're not veneers. What are they? Crowns. I've got a number of crowns, and all of those things, unbeknownst to me, were all printed on medical grade resin printers with exacting results. And toughness and hardness, of course, you use a special type of resin, so it's really incredible. But that is kind of their background. Hearables, innovation, all of this stuff. Well, with that, they have their big system, which is kind of what you would end up seeing. But with this, what we want to do is we want to take a look. They have dental printers, and then they have their reflex. We want to look at the reflex printer, and there's a lot of great innovations that their 3D printer has come into play, and that's the Ultracraft Reflex 3D printer at a staggering price of $1,400. And if you look at the printer wash and cure station, that's $2,389. It's down from $2,500, but I think they're realizing as they get into the consumer market, price is a consideration. So somebody take that high price and move it into the con, and they would say, okay, well, what about the this one? And actually, let's change that to US dollars in the United States. The only reason it's set to won is because I live in Korea. And then we'll restart this, and it ends up, it was, oh, come on, seriously. It's like $849.50 is what we end up seeing for the GK2, which is a huge difference from the $1,400. I mean, basically, $850 versus the $1,400. That is a lot of money to spend on a printer. And then if we look at HeyGears, the Saturn 3 Ultra 12K, you're going to pay $419. Now, granted, it's got a large build plate, large build area. You can send your prints Wi-Fi over to the machine from your computer. You can do it with USB. Does not have a heated vat. Does not have automated leveling. You have to manually level it. But once it's set, pretty much it's set and forget. But then, as with any other printer, kind of like your GK2 here, you would have to, I think this has auto leveling. It has a heating system, which is really good. Quick release, which is nice. File transfer, third-party slicers, which are good. Has a 10.3-inch build area, which is nice. Monochrome, has air filter, automatic heating chamber bed, which is really nice. Flip-up cover. When I look at this, it's like, maybe I should have went with, maybe I should have went with the GK2. It's got a spare FEP, I think, screen protector, all of this stuff. But with that, and the Saturn 3 Ultra 12K, which is really nice, large build volume, 4-point leveling system, which I wish they would make it as automated. They have an air filter, works a little bit. 12K, again, you can do up to, I think, 10 microns. Usually most default machines are at 50 microns, and you can't really tell the difference. Linux release, Resin, they don't get you an extra FEP, which I think they should, because those things are expensive. And so it does 1 micron to 0.2 layer thickness. USB Wi-Fi, So, but where the Ultracraft comes in is that it takes a lot of programming and AI, artificial intelligence, that's a big buzzword for these days. In other words, the program automates a lot of the things that users would have to do if you're saying using the GK2 or the Saturn 3 Ultra. And it starts out at the precision at 33 micron. So automatically you're getting a higher resolution. Now, what's the difference between 33 and 50? But in the naked eye, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless you were like this close and you're like, okay. Has an auto resin level detection system, and it has their own proprietary bottles of resin that you can put in, so the vat automatically fills up. And the system automatically knows what type of reference or resin it uses, because there's an RFID on each bottle. So when you plug that bottle in, the machine automatically knows what it is. And then it has the heated tray. It'll automatically put in the resin. It'll automatically put in supports, which this is the first with their own proprietary slicer. Okay, proprietary. That's okay. I could deal with that. And the results I've seen from people with the automatic supports getting perfect prints, that is very impressive. They also have this smart AI peeling force management system. And then they also came out with another additional add-on component, which could increase your print speed even more than what it is. And it should be noted that this prints faster than the Saturn 3 Ultra 12K and the GK2 from Uniformation. But at a hefty price tag. You're going to pay for it at about $1,400. And the speed difference I saw in one review showed that the speed in which this prints compared to, it was either the Saturn or the GK, I think it was the GK2, was 30% faster. But there are some cons, and we'll get to those. 3-dimensional anti-aliasing. They have their own software. They seem to be really, really good with software. And of course, if you're doing any type of dental prosthetics or hearing aids or things like that, you're talking about needing some superb details and accuracy. And that's what they have with this. They just kind of took everything from the medical side of the 3D printing market and they're bringing it into the consumer side, which is really good. The precision that it gives is pretty good. Get injected molded results like with industrial grade hardware with algorithm enhanced surface quality, and the prints I've seen on that online are just incredible. Increased precision with starting at 30 microns. I think you go down to 0.1 or 10 microns. Print with confidence. Auto leveling is an essential process, so you don't have to go through that. It does auto leveling for you, and then it has a resin detection system and so on and so forth. Real-time monitoring, which would be great. I wish I could get on my phone and with my Saturn III Ultra, because I'm printing something, I go to the store, I could check that. That would be nice. That's another great thing that this HeyGears system offers. Smart peeling force management. And again, if you don't know, when the build plate goes down into the vat of resin, and it will build your model upside down, layer by layer by layer by layer, and then when it's done, you pull it off the build plate and boom, there's your model. There is some suction force of the cured resin that is on the build plate that when that FEP from the vat, and when it pulls away from the vat, there's going to be a little bit of suction. And so apparently they have this peeling force management, which increases your success in prints and minimizes the amount of failed prints. If I said one, you'd automatically know, so I'm not sure why I said both of those. Maybe just to get the point across. The Ultracraft Reflex 3D printer has probably one of the great things that I like is the flip-up lid. The flip-up lid that we see there with the Elegoo, you have to physically grab the lid, pull it off, and then set it on the floor on the table, and that's how you get access to the build plate and the vat and all this stuff. This, it tilts up, and it is reminiscent of the medical resin and dental resin printers that I've seen, where it just has a handle and it pops up, you do your thing, put the lid down, and you're good to go. So I think that should be the industry standard, is having that flip-up case there. Has the build platform, again, there's no need to level it, so you don't need the 4-point leveling or the ball and socket leveling thing. Has a resin tank, and that resin tank has a pour spout that we can see on there, and that has that area where the bottle with the automatic resin adding, that's awesome. And I'm pretty sure that resin tank or that vat holds more than the GK2 or the Saturn III Ultra. What you'll end up seeing, I know with my Saturn III Ultra, the max line is 500 milliliters. So I think this holds a little bit more than that. So they got the little basic kit that they send you, which is good to go. Again, they got the cover, the build plate. The way that the build plate attaches into the machine itself is great. It's kind of like a little snap thing in. You don't have to unscrew a screw and then pull the build plate off. It's kind of like old school. I think that's an innovative feature. The heated vat area takes some time to heat up, but hey, that's pretty awesome. Print speed, dimensions, weighs about 25 kilograms, which, this is, if you've been to a dentist's office that does like implants and crowns and prints those things out in-house, you look and you'll see they are very similar in size, shape, and weight. So, and then again, we have the voltage. It can handle 110 or 220, and it uses 350 watts. Now, the interesting thing is the resin. Because it has their own proprietary bottles, their resin is way more expensive than like a cheap bottle of Sunlu or Jamji or anything like that. Look at this, Ultra Print Molding PA 10 high temperature resistance resin. Resin is $99. There's, some for $88. But you're looking at basically double the cost of the resin for their proprietary resin. Now, the good thing is when you use their printer, is that, and their proprietary resin, it goes in, fits into the socket, it'll automatically fill the vat, which is good to go. Their proprietary slicer program ends up, it automatically knows because of the RFID chip on the bottle what the exposure time, the retraction, the burn-in layers, all of this for that specific resin. So the whole idea is basically a plug, print, or click and print, boom, you're done. Gone are the days of having to dial in for each specific resin. This, you just put it in the bottle, it recognizes it, and if it's, they're wear resistant, or if they're clear resin, or whatever they end up having. Let's see, we've got production, modeling, colors, different colors and things like that. And I think they also have a clear resin as well. But let's just do the production. You're looking at $60 for 1 kilo. Yeah, that's a lot for 1,000 grams for that stuff. It's basically double. Let me see if we can let's find one that is good for modeling. There's one, modeling. Let's go with that one there. $99, clear 10. Yeah, that's, oh man. Same, that's some crazy pricing there. That is some crazy pricing when we're talking about paying for resin, because they want to get into the hobby section and the consumer grade market by doing miniatures and models and things like that. Well, the problem is they're banking that they're going to make all their money by just being able to do a plug and play, put in our resin, and you'll never have to tweak any settings again, which is awesome. I mean, you got to admit that's awesome. But the problem is that the resin is double the cost of what you can get from third party. And like I said, with my Saturn 3 Ultra 12, once I get my resin dialed in, I set it and forget it, and I don't have to adjust any other settings. So that is kind of a problem. Now, there are some people out there who have done reviews on the Ultracraft and the proprietary bottles. They used it, emptied out the bottle, cleaned it out, and then they put in like some Jamji or some Sunlu resin that was similar to the resins that they offer. They poured it in the bottle, they put it in there, they did the auto supports, and it printed out perfectly. But the other problem is you don't have access to those settings. You don't have access to the exposure times, burn-in layers, retraction speed, lift speed, weight, before and after print, and all of that. None of that is available to the user from what I've seen online, which is very problematic. That's going to cause a lot of people to say, okay, well, wait a second. This is $1,400. That's a big chunk of change for people. And $2,300 if you're going to buy the whole set, the wash, cure, and the machine. And now on top of that, you're going to have me pay double for the resin that with another machine like the GK2 or the Saturn 3 Ultra. In the long run, I would, just for me personally, I would go with the GK2 or the Saturn 3 Ultra. The GK2 does have the heated vat. I think it has auto leveling. Does it? I'm not sure. Heating system, air per, blah, blah, blah. Build volume, 26 or 29. So it's basically got the same heating, built-in filter, photo removal, flip-up cover, which is awesome. Oh, man, that really makes me quick release design for that. Maybe I should have got the GK2. Why is there no real spec thing on here? Why? That's it for specs. Voltage, resin, printing, format, slicing. You can use third-party file transfer, exposure setting, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I thought it had auto leveling. Let's see. Does the GK2 have auto leveling? Crank up the heat. Uniformication is incredible. Auto leveling, automatic printer bed leveling, automatic. So I guess it does. I guess it does have auto leveling. So that would be a serious consideration. Auto leveling to the next level. Light source, stunning details. Let's get this so I can read it. Build plate volume, which is something we'll look at because the build plate on the GK2 and the Saturn III Ultra is definitely bigger than the HeyGears. Addition to air purifier, resin printing, but it's printing volume. Does it? I don't know. Maybe it does. Resin printer, details, features, HD resolution, print without wearing, operation, high quality prints, larger scale projects, blah, 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 heating system, air purifier, resin printing, it's always convenient thanks to quick release and vat, maintenance is a breeze, flip up lid. Man, I really want to get the GK2 now. Man, does it auto level? I'm not sure. I mean, it said that it did. There's no auto fill. No leveling. I don't know. That is really odd. I'm not sure if it has auto leveling or not. But I do know that the Saturn III Ultra does not have auto leveling. But if we look at the build volume, let me see if we can make this a little bit bigger. We can see the build volume here for the Saturn III Ultra is 218, 122 by 260. And if we go back to the build area here, we can see that the build area is 22 by 128 by 245. And then if we go here, the build area is a little bit smaller. Build volume 192, 121 by 220. So a little bit smaller in some places, but what's really interesting is when you look at videos of this, the build plate sits within the vat, and there's actually ample room between the walls of the vat and the build plate that you could actually make a bigger build plate immediately and offer that, which I think should have been done in the first place. And their build plate vat has holes in it to allow the resin to come in and out, unlike the Saturn III Ultra, which has a solid build plate. So, yeah. Let's see if we show build plate. Yeah. I mean, I could do. Oh, yeah. There's a picture of the build plate. We see right there. It's just laser etched. Don't have any problems with that. But with the Ultracraft, their build plate has holes in it. Let's see if we can see if it's got a picture of the build plate. Yeah. So we can kind of see it right here. Those little dots there. Those are holes in the build plate that allow the resin to come in and out. And when it actually sits in the vat, you've got a decent amount of size. So you could realistically make a larger build plate with minimal expense. But yeah, the obvious problems with this, the cons of the HeyGears Ultracraft Reflex 3D printer is definitely price. But it's a heavy-duty industrial machine. I would call it prosumer. So there is, and it's a hefty machine. And they are kind of taking from the medical side of the house and bringing it to the consumer side. So that can be justified, I think, to some degree. The auto leveling, which is good, and then On top of that, you have the heated chamber. On top of that, you have the automatic resin, the flip-up cover, the easy connection device for the build plate, and you can even pull the build plate off and then hang it at an angle to allow the resin to drip, which is nice. Unfortunately, the Saturn III Ultra, I had to get a 3D printed thing so that I could do that. So a lot of innovations with this. The bat is obviously a bit nicer, but the cons for this and for this type of printer, besides being cost, is the aftermarket resin price. It's basically double of what you would pay, and sometimes even a little bit more, for their proprietary resins and bottles. You cannot tweak any of the settings. So in other words, you just kind of left it is what it is. But again, it's that plug, play, print, and you're good. So you're going to pay a price for that. Now, there have been some reviewers who have taken aftermarket similar resins, put them into the HeyGears bottle, and be able to get successful prints. So it can be done. And the only thing I think HeyGears needs to realize, if they want to do more sales in regards to the machines, you could maybe lower the price a little bit, but honestly, I mean, I would pay $1,000 for that machine as is, and then if I could use third-party resin, I would get that. Now, and not being able to tweak the settings. I think for newbie users, you're going to pay the price for this one click and print and you're done type of thing. That's basically what you're paying for. But if I wanted to do more sales, basically what I would end up doing is I would pay $1,400 if the machine would allow me to adjust these settings so that I could use third-party resins. Leave the settings for your proprietary resin. Leave those locked away. Don't let people to have access to that. But if you wanted to open it up to third-party resins, that would be a great way to do that. And I think that would entice people more towards this product, especially at that high price range, instead of like cutting them off and say, well, you can't adjust anything, and that's the way it is. I think they're going to miss a lot of sales in regards to that. So between the Ultracraft at $1,400 or the GK2, let me see if I can find a different 3D printer. Let me see if this one pops up a little bit different. 3D printers, GK2. Why does that say pre-order? That doesn't make sense because it is out. Let's just go to Amazon, see what Amazon pulls it out for. So, you're looking at $849, and the GKtwo Saturn is half of that. So the Saturn III Ultra, 12K, it doesn't have the auto leveling, doesn't have the heated VAT or things like that, but you're getting 12K pretty much, and is an awesome system at $419. Then the GK2 is, basically double, and then when you get to the Ultracraft, you're looking at $1,400. And right now, I would say probably the GK2 it's probably one of the top 3 resin printers that are out there because of all the things that it offers, and the price point isn't bad. Let's see if we can go through here. 8K LCD screen, so you're getting 8K resolution. Can you tell the difference between 8K? Of course, I should probably put you on here. This is to show you what I'm talking about. So the GKtwo Saturn is $419. The GK2, which is an 8K printer, is $849 or $850, and the Ultracraft is $1,400. With that, you could buy a lot of resin if you only spend $419 and get the Saturn III Ultra, or you get the Uniformation GK2 with the heated VAT, the front lifting lid, and some other bells and whistles for $849 or $850, and a larger build plate than the Ultracraft. So flip up lid, quick release, air purifier, has a heater, large build area. Yeah, I mean 10.3-inch build plate, mini build plate, which is not included, but I guess you could buy that. Groove Design Slicer Programs uses, Cheetah Box, Lychee, and their own, I think it is. Flip up cover, quick release vat, which is nice. Yeah, so there's just a lot of good things that come with the GK2, but you're going to pay a little bit of a price versus the Saturn III Ultra. You're still going to get bigger build plate volume on the Saturn and the GK2 versus the Ultracraft. But the Ultracraft is also printing at, from what people say, a 30% faster than those other two machines. Is that worth such a price? Is that worth paying double for resin, for their own proprietary resin? I don't know. The big thing is that it doesn't allow for third-party resins. So anyway, that's what we wanted to go over today, is to talk about these printers and these resin consuming items. And yeah, I don't know, $1,400, is that worth it in your opinion? Or something like the GK2 for about $850, is that more the speed of generally? I see that's kind of the higher end and it gives you more bells and whistles. Or do you go with like the Saturn III Ultra, for $800 or $419? That's a steal, especially considering not too long ago, to get a high-speed low-drag resin printer, you would be paying a very decent amount of money. And look at them now. You can get a 12K printer for $419. So I don't know. There's a lot to be said for this. I think they're definitely in the higher end in regards to speed and details, auto leveling, auto resin detection, automatically filling the vat, a lot of things that a lot of 3D resin printers wanted, people who, like me, would want. But that not allowing third-party resin, that's kind of the deal killer. And now if you could, again, like I said, if they ended up where you could add third-party resins and you could add your own settings, leave their special proprietary settings alone, but just be able to add third-party settings, I think I would pay that. But then again, I'm under the cry once, buy once. Buy once, cry once. And because what'll happen usually with most hobbies, people will try to get into that hobby at the lowest price point possible. And social media has been ablaze with people who are new, who come in and say, what's the best printer that I could get at the best price? That's whatever, I only have this much money, but I want all the bells and whistles. Well, duh, everybody does, but that's not how the world works. I'm at the point where it's like, I've been through enough hobbies in my life to where it's like, if you go with the Barney Basic entry-level machine, gun, or whatever gear device thing that you're buying, over time, you're going to upgrade, and then you're going to upgrade again, then you're going to upgrade again. And the amount of money that you spent over that period of time of going from your first machine to the last machine that you really wanted with the bells and whistles, you could have saved some money by buying once at that everything, the bells and whistles that you wanted, versus having to buy all those different machines. And where are those machines now? They're probably sitting on the shelf gathering dust, like with every other hobby that you get into. So again, the high price point, is it a big deal? Yeah, for some, but if it's buy once, cry once, I would be okay with it. But I think the deal killer is the inability to add third-party resins. And their system, their $2,500 for that is just insane. Their wash and cure system, basically $2,400. And yeah, I don't know about that. If I was going to get, there's a picture of it right there, lift up the top, it's good to go, easy removal. Then you got the wash station, which kind of does this action. It's got a unique design to drain from one container to the other, so it minimizes the amount of exposure that you have to IPA or whatever solvents. Boom, a mirrored interior there. You know what? Yeah, that's great and all, but I don't think that's worth that much money. If we go to Elegoo, let's take a look at equipment. No, we don't want that. What do we want? What do we want? We don't want laser. We want materials, parts and accessories. Maybe it's parts and accessories. Post-processing, that's what we want. Washing bucket. Seriously? Really? Elegoo? Just show me your wash and cure bundle. That's all I want to see is the wash and cure bundle. Come on, bundle sale. Okay, bundle sale, let's look at it. Saturn 3 Ultra series. Oh, so here it is. So what we can end up seeing here is, again, the Saturn 3 Ultra, $399. So it's even lower price, $399.63. And then you can get the Mercury XS bundle for $162, which includes the wash and the cure station. So yeah, just get the wash and cure station for $162, and then you could also go ahead and purchase the your HeyGear if you really wanted to just go for that for $1,400, and you could save yourself a bunch of money by just going that route, going to Elegoo Wash and Cure, and then go for that. But, like I said, the one thing that holds me back from that is the inability to use third-party resin. So, since I'm starting to sound like a broken record now, it's time to turn this off and ask the question, what do you think about the Ultracraft? Great technology. Is it expensive? Proprietary resins, heated vat, all of the pros and the cons. What do you think they should do to get more sales besides lower the price? Do you think adding a third-party option for resins would be a thing? I think so. But put it in the comment section down below, and I would be happy to read your comments, especially if you're an experienced 3D resin printer guru person, hobbyist, pro people, more than I am. I've only recently got into this field, and there's so much to learn, but seeing the advancements and hearing from those who are more experienced than me has been great for me and my hobbies, and I love it. So I'd love to hear your comments on that. So with that being said, hey, that's it. The desktop review of the HeyGears Ultracraft 3D resin printer for $1,400 and how it compares to the GK2 from Uniformation and the Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra 12K printer thing, price, all of that. We're done. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.